back to Carly's Creations. I'm Carly, and today I'm doing a much requested tutorial on clipboards. So I actually just started diving into these myself, and they are a lot of fun to do. So today I'm going to show you how to do a beach theme clipboard. So this is going to be the clipboard that we're going to have after we're done. So I'm going to use the same colors that I would do on a glittered beach tumbler, and it's actually a very similar concept. And then I just added some vinyl and sealed it with the epoxy. So they do come out really fun. This one is transparent, so you can see it on the back too. So you can always do a mirrored image and have your quote here versus here. Totally up to you. So let's get started. Okay, what we're going to use today, we're going to use some epoxy. I'm going to glitter it using the epoxy method. Some scissors, electrical tape, and our glitter. So for, let's see. Okay, let's start here. I don't know where I'm going to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taping off this very top part, the clip part, just to protect it. I didn't do it on my last one. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I think I just got too excited about diving into it. But this one is for a customer, so we're using a little extra precautions. That other one I'm keeping for myself just because I want to and it's fun. There's a few little flaws on there, and now that I've learned a few things, this one should be much better. So, okay. You can use painter's tape if you want. I just prefer electrical tape. I feel like it just works better, it sticks better. Okay. I did find these clipboards at actually my local Dollar General. They come wrapped in plastic like this. So what I do is I take the top part of the plastic off and I leave the underneath part of the plastic on, just as an extra barrier. So we're going to get our Exacto knife, and I'm just going to go right around the edges here. I'm sorry, I'm probably blocking the camera. And we're just going to peel off that excess. Just be careful, go right along the edge, don't push too hard. You don't want to damage the plastic somehow. So you love how it sticks to your hand. I just kind of go around with my finger and push it down before doing this. Okay, there we go. Oops, didn't cut through the second layer. All right, there we go. The last little piece does not want to come off. Okay, so there we go. We have our clipboard taped off. And I'm just going to go around and I just kind of push along the edges a little bit. Okay, so now let's dive into our glitter. I'm going to use 4 different colors. I'm going to use Pot of Gold, which is on my website. It is like a medium chunky, and it's got a little bit of an ultra fine mixed into it. It's really pretty, and I just like this texture for the sand. And then for the wave part, I'm going to use Peachy Olive Glitters Stardust. The next color will be Cabana Boy, which you can find on my website. And then the bluest color, the deep blue, is going to be Dress Blues from Peachy Olive Glitters. So we're going to do the same method as we would do the epoxy method for your tumblers, okay? So I'm going to use my glove finger, and I'm going to put a very thin layer. My kids are in the background. I apologize because we're all quarantined, so you may hear them. My bad. Okay, we're going to put just a very thin layer on our board. Okay, so we're just going to go very lightly, little bit of epoxy. This is a very thin coat right now. And I'm just going to go up to the edge. I'm not going to go over the edge. This is just enough to get our glitter to stick. Just up against the edge there. And this is why we tape off right here. Just to avoid a headache later on. It's actually kind of helpful having this clip. It makes a good handle for kind of working around on your board. Okay, just going to dip a little bit more up in this corner. Okay. I'm just going to get it and just kind of smooth it out just a little bit. You probably could use Mod Podge. I haven't done one using that method. I don't know how that would turn out as far as the glue, but I'm sure that is an option. Oops, got a little bit right there. I've just always used the epoxy, so if you try it, let me know though. Okay. A little bit of plastic right there. All right, so now we got it all along our edges. Okay, take my glove off, and I'm just going to hit it with the heat gun real quick just to get any bubbles out that might be there. The thing with these is you have to remember it's transparent, so it is clear, so whatever you're going to see on the other side, as far as like bubbles and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to start down below with my gold, and I'm just going to do, like I said, same concept as we're going to do on our tumbler. So I'm going to hold my glitter up high, and I'm just going to tap some of this gold down at the bottom. This is going to be our sand. And I'm just going to make sure I get a really good coverage on here. The last board I did just one coat of glitter. I didn't do two. So that's probably just a personal preference for you. I like that I could see a little bit through the board. I just thought it looked kind of cool, especially by the waves. It looked kind of cool. Okay. So then you're just going to get your board, knock off any of that excess glitter. Okay, I got a good coverage there. All right, so now we're gonna move to our Stardust. And I'm gonna hold it up high. We're gonna do the same concept, you know, like an ombre look, because we want these colors to blend. I'm not gonna do a lot of white, just a little bit, just so when I add my paints and micas for the wave effect, we kind of have a background to that. Okay. Same thing, knock off any excess. All right, now to Cabana Boy. And we're just gonna keep layering. Make sure you hold it up high. You want that to fall nicely. Okay. Tap it off. Okay. A little bit more on the edge here. All right. Okay. Now we're going to move to our dark blue, the Denim. Oops, sorry. Didn't realize I was out of camera view. Okay, so we're just gonna move to the top. We're gonna do the same thing. Just kind of getting up around those edges. Right up along the edge there. Make sure we're getting good coverage. Okay. We'll let that slide down a little bit. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and just kind of blend them a little bit better. And I'm going to tip it the opposite way. So I'm going to tip it back. And I'm going to add some Cabana Boy just to blend in with the dark blue. Again, if you've done an ombre cup, this is the same concept. Missed a little spot of the blue here. There we go. Okay. All right, we're gonna go back in with our white. Tip it up opposite direction. Oops. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit of playing back and forth just to kind of get that blend that you're wanting. Okay. And then just go back in the end and kind of look to see if there's some spots, like there's a few spots right up here where I'm just missing a little bit of the blue, so I want a little bit more coverage. I'm just going to go over it one more time. Okay. All right. So there we have it. So there's our glittered board. I'm not going to lay it here because obviously I have a bunch of glitter down below. So we're going to let this sit and we're going to let this dry. It's evening time, so I'm going to let this dry completely overnight until it's completely hardened, and then we'll move to our next step. Okay, so we are back. It's the next morning and our glitter is all hardened. Everything is cured. So now we're going to move to the next step. So what I've done so far, and I will keep doing it here, is I've taped just along the edges of my clipboard here, and I am using the electrical tape, same tape I used up at the top. And what we're going to do is we're just going to create a border to help hold our epoxy from spilling over the edge. So this is kind of at the point where it does start to get a little bit tricky. It's stuck on my finger. All right. So I already applied the tape all around the rest of the board just because I feel like you didn't need to see me watch me do the entire board. But just make sure you get your tape all the way around and just kind of press real firmly all around the edges so you don't have any gaps, okay? So our next step, what we're going to do is we're going to lay down some epoxy, okay? So I already have my epoxy mixed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit extra in a medicine cup here. And so we're going to put some epoxy on and then we're going to do our waves. So I have just a little bit. I have, let's see how much it tells me. Less than a tablespoon. About 8 mLs of epoxy here. I probably won't use all of that, but that's okay. I always put a little extra in it just in case. So I'm going to do a little bit of a mixture of acrylic paint and micas. So I'm going to add a little bit of white acrylic paint, just a little bit. And then I'm going to add a little bit of a pearl white mica. And I just like the effect that it gives when you mix the two. You still get the white, the solid white for the waves, but it gives a little pearl coloring to it, so it just makes for really pretty waves, I think, anyway. So we're just going to mix this up and we're going to set this aside. Okay. All right, so now this is where it gets a little tricky, and I just said you need to lay enough epoxy down where you're getting good coverage, but not too much that you're gonna have it pouring all over the sides. So I kind of just add a little bit at a time. And just like when I do the pop sockets, I know I've done videos on pop sockets before. Actually, I don't think I have a tutorial on it, so I can do one. And you're just going to go right up to the edge. And you're just going to get a good coverage all over the board. I didn't spray this with the sealer. Usually with the tumbler, I will spray it with a clear sealer just to hold all the glitter. I have not done that. I feel like the epoxy holds it pretty well and my colors don't really blend, so I haven't had the need to do that. Okay, pour a little bit down on this side. And for the tape on the sides here, I'm going to leave this, once I finish this step, I'll probably leave the tape on for about 45 minutes, and then I'm going to take the tape off. You don't want to leave it on the whole time, just because you don't want it to get completely stuck to the board. But you need to leave it enough where your epoxy is going to start to thicken up and not run over the side. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit more, and then we're going to do our waves. Okay, so I have it all up against the edges, and what I'm going to do just up here, because I don't have it taped off, is I'm just going to get my little silicone brush and just kind of push that epoxy up to the side, up to the side, up to the top part here. I got this brush in a set, and they're actually very handy. So I'll go ahead and link that down below for you. Just push it up right to the rim there. My boys are playing with Nerf guns in the other room, so I apologize if you hear a bunch of little shooting noises there. Okay. So we're just going to hit it with the heat gun, pop any bubbles, and we're going to do our waves. Okay. And just kind of keep checking back periodically, make sure that your tape is still up on your edges there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my silicone straw and my white colored epoxy here. And I'm just going to drizzle right in between the sand and where we did that white glitter. Don't overthink this part. Just kind of sporadically lay down some white. You want it to be uneven. You don't want it to be perfect lines, anything like that. We're trying to get the illusion that the wave is crashing. Okay, so you're going to get your straw, and we're just going to gently blow some of this color around. And I'm just going to kind of blow straight back and forth and up and down. I want the waves to have different shapes. Okay, you're just going to keep adding as much or as little as you want. I'm not using a heat gun because I don't want it to spread too far to go over the edge. So I want a little bit more control, which is why I'm using this straw. I do have silicone straws on the website too. You can use a regular straw. What I like about the silicone straw is that it bends. And so it kind of gives me a little bit more flexibility as far as that goes, with blowing things around. And just keep going until you like it. So now from here you could leave it, or you could add some clouds, which I did on my first one here. So to add clouds, I'm just going to do little drops of the white. Like I said, you need very little of the white. I had about 8 mLs to start, and I'm maybe using 1. You just want some wispy clouds. You don't want a lot of white up here, just a little bit. And I'm just going to go back and kind of push up my tape here. And what you can do too is in about 20 minutes, if you don't want to wait as long, you can get a Q-tip with some alcohol, rubbing alcohol on it, and just kind of go around and kind of clean up the edges of your board a little bit. So that's kind of how we do the waves. And so, like I said, it's just up to you how much you want, how much little or a lot or anything like that, and just kind of play around with it. Another thing you can do is you can get your popsicle stick and kind of just spread them out. And that kind of gives a different effect too. Just another way of doing it. So I'll do a little bit here and just kind of spread it out. If you don't like how it looks, get your straw, kind of blow on it, spread them out a little bit, have some fun with it. And then we're going to let this cure for, I let it sit for 24 hours until it's completely cured. And then we're going to move to the next step, which is our vinyl. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I just took the tape off and I have a baby wipe. You can use a baby wipe, or like I said earlier, you can use a Q-tip with some rubbing alcohol on it and just kind of clean up your edges. So I'm using a baby wipe just because that's what I have on hand right now. And I'm just going to go around the edge and just kind of very carefully kind of wipe any excess that may have started to kind of drip off a little bit. But this is why you don't want to use a lot. There is no flood coats in clipboards. So I'm just going to go along the edge. And then another very important tip, you need to lay it on an absolute flat surface. If your surface is tipped even just a little bit, your epoxy is going to run and it's going to start to go off the edge. So like I said, it's a little tricky, but just make sure it's completely flat surface, and just want to show you how to clean up the edges a little bit there. So, all right, next step, vinyl. Okay, so we're back and it is time for the image. So I kind of did most of the weeding here, and I'm just doing a couple little pieces that got stuck. The middle of our letters here. These little tools are super handy, you guys. Especially for these little pieces right in here. These little tweezers get it very easily. You can find these on my website actually right now. And I'm telling you, it is a game changer. I don't even use the little thing that came with my Cameo. I think I've told you that in another video. I may repeat myself, my bad. I can never remember these days anymore. Okay, so we got all our little pieces out. We're gonna put our transfer paper on. And I get this transfer paper from Amazon, and it's awesome. It comes in a really big roll, and it will last you forever. So I will definitely make sure to link that down below for you as well. Okay, press it really firm on there. Okay, and then you're going to very carefully peel back your image. Sometimes you have to push a little bit as you're peeling. Just make sure all your letters are sticking. You may hear my kids, they're outside racing each other, so you may hear them yelling and screaming as they go by the door. Life with quarantine and 5 kids, right? Just make sure you go nice and slow. You don't want to rip it and go too fast and pull your letters off the wrong way. I think I pushed it hard enough the first time. All right, there we go. Like I said. Okay. So now we're just going to place our image. Let's see. I kind of like the wave to go right on the wave. Huh? So just make sure it's nice and center. And lay it flat. I push in the middle. And then push right along the outside little by little. Okay? Just kind of go over all the letters, make sure you get it down nice and firm. And then you're going to peel up, starting on a corner. And I pull flat, so I kind of flatten my transfer tape and pull nice and slow and flat. And flush with the board. A little trickier when it's a bigger image. All right. There we go. Image is on the board. Now the only thing left to do is do our final coat of epoxy. So a little bit of glitter up there. All right. Now it might be a little bit rough on the edges, so if it is, you can do the same as you would for your tumbler and just kind of gently sand just a little bit. Just right along the edge there. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to use a silicone brush to kind of push some of this epoxy on. I'm going to try to get a heavier coat on. It's tricky to get a heavier coat on without going over your edges. So if you've done pop sockets before, you're going to do the same concept and you're just going to go right up to the edge without going over. These little brushes will be on my website pretty soon too. They actually come in handy a lot now because of the lack of supplies. With everything going on and not being able to get gloves. So this is a good alternative to use if you are out of gloves. And you can reuse it as much as you want. Okay, so you're just going to go right up to the edge. And you're just going to get full coverage all over your board. And that's it. So fairly easy. They are a little tricky, I won't lie, but I think once you do a couple, you kind of start to get the hang of it and the feel for it and things like that. So we're just going to put this final coat on and I'm going to let it sit for 72 hours. Same exact thing as I do for a tumbler. You want to make sure this is fully cured before handing it off to a customer or using it yourself. So that's it. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know down below, and have fun with them. These are really fun, and if you're looking for a little something different to do than a tumbler, definitely worth a try. So if you haven't yet joined our group on Facebook, Carly's Creations, Tumblers, and More, we do lots of fun games, exclusive group codes, and we just have a really good time. I do sneak peeks in there for new products, things like that. So find us on there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and we'll talk soon. Bye.